Beverley Allitt, dubbed the Angel of Death, was a nurse who was convicted of killing 4 children and injuring 9 others on the ward she worked at Grantham Hospital, Lincolnshire. Beverley Gail Allitt was born October 4, 1968. She is an English serial killer who was convicted of murdering 4 children, attempting to murder 3 other children, and causing grievous bodily harm to a further 6 children. The crimes were committed over a period of 59 days between February and April 1991 in the children's ward at Grantham and Kesteven Hospital, Lincolnshire, where Allitt was employed as a state-enrolled nurse. She administered large doses of insulin to at least 2 victims, and a large air bubble was found in the body of another, but police were unable to establish how all the attacks were carried out. As a child, Beverley would use factitious injuries in order to gain attention. She took to wearing bandages and casts over wounds but would not allow them to be examined. As a teenager and overweight, Beverley began spending an excessive amount of time in hospitals with numerous physical complaints. At one point, she convinced a surgeon to remove a perfectly healthy appendix. When they realized what she was doing, she would doctor shop, moving on from one physician to the next. She went on to train as a nurse and was suspected of odd behavior, such as smearing feces on walls in a nursing home where she trained. Her absentee level was also exceptionally high, the result of a string of illnesses. Her boyfriend at that time said later that she was aggressive, manipulative, and deceptive, claiming false pregnancy as well as rape before the end of the relationship. Despite her history of poor attendance and successive failure of her nursing examinations, she was taken on a temporary 6-month contract at the chronically understaffed Grantham and Kesteven Hospital in Lincolnshire in 1991, where she began work in Children's Ward 4. When she started, there were only 2 trained nurses on the day shift and 1 for nights, which might explain how her violent attention-seeking behavior went undetected for as long as it did. By July 26, 1991, police felt that they had sufficient evidence to charge Allitt with murder, but it wasn't until November 1991 that she was formally charged. Allitt showed calm and restraint under interrogation, denying any part in the attacks, insisting she had merely been caring for the victims. A search of her home revealed parts of the missing nursing log. Further extensive background checks by the police indicated a pattern of behavior that pointed to a very serious personality disorder. Allitt exhibited symptoms of both Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which are characterized by gaining attention through illness. With Munchausen syndrome, physical or psychological symptoms are either self-induced or feigned in oneself to gain attention. Munchausen's by proxy involves inflicting injury on others to gain attention for oneself. It is fairly unusual for an individual to present with both conditions. Allitt's behavior in adolescence appeared to be typical of Munchausen syndrome, and, when this behavior failed to elicit the desired reactions in others, she began to harm her young patients in order to satisfy her desire to be noticed. Despite visits and assessments by a number of healthcare professionals whilst in prison, Allitt refused to confess what she had done. After a series of hearings, Allitt was charged with 4 counts of murder, 11 counts of attempted murder, and 11 counts of causing grievous bodily harm. As she awaited her trial, she rapidly lost weight and developed anorexia nervosa, a further indication of her psychological problems. After a trial that lasted nearly 2 months, Allitt was convicted on May 23, 1993, and given 13 life sentences for murder and attempted murder. It was the harshest sentence ever delivered to a female, but, according to Mr. Justice Latham, it was commensurate with the horrific suffering of the victims, their families, and the ignominy she had brought upon nursing as a profession. Indeed, the impact on the Grantham and Kesteven Hospital was so severe that the maternity unit was closed down altogether. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.